Less of this, more of this. That's talking and typing. Hello guys, how are you? David Franco here from thefrancouniversity.com, and that's exactly what today's video is all about. Just last week I published a brand new original article titled, here it is right here, WordPress versus Squarespace, which is better for blogging? Now this is an excellent question that I think many content creators can get value out of. Because, well, if you're like me, you're always coming up with new ideas. You always have that crave to create something new, right? I mean, it's such a great feeling, but obviously that idea doesn't turn into reality without actually doing it. And in that process of doing it requires the choice, usually the choice anyway, of choosing between WordPress and Squarespace. So which is better from a blogger's perspective? First of all, let's talk about WordPress. WordPress, for those not aware, is an open source CMS. CMS stands for Content Management System, which basically lets you do anything you want. Because it's open source, you can do anything your heart desires. From thousands of plugins to thousands of themes, WordPress is an open sandbox. And that right there is a huge advantage of WordPress over Squarespace. If you have an idea, chances are pretty damn good you can do it with WordPress. Whereas with Squarespace, it's more of a closed ecosystem, but in my eyes, higher quality. And actually, it's kind of like Android versus iOS. Android is open source, it's more open, you can do a lot more with it. Whereas iOS, it's closed, but usually a higher quality experience because everything works for the user as it should. Okay, so anyway, getting into details, which is the point of this video, blogging, right here. FrancoUniversity.com. Check it out right below in case you're interested in reading the article. Let's talk about blogging. Well, WordPress is quite extensive. You do get a Wysiwyg editor. Wysiwyg means what you see is what you get, usually anyway. And actually, I like to call it what you see is what you almost get. It's kind of a joke for me because that's the truth for both WordPress and Squarespace. However, with that said, WordPress does a phenomenal job with the Wysiwyg editor, especially when combined with the thousands of available plugins that you can download right now. And most of them are completely free to use. So take the Wysiwyg editor and combine any plugin that you can think of, and boom, you have the ultimate experience in content creation. And not only that, WordPress also has full support for users. So if you're running a multi-user blog, then boom, WordPress is perfect for that. And it's incredibly easy to set up and manage. Now, speaking in terms of search engine optimization, WordPress is still king in this area. Thanks to the infinite number of plugins available, you can do pretty much anything you think of. And that especially applies to search engine optimization. In other words, SEO. So for those not aware, SEO, and by no means am I an SEO expert, I'm not. I mean, I've learned a lot over the years, but I'm certainly not an expert. And by the way, the title expert, please, let's just stop using that. So anyway, SEO is basically how your website ranks on popular search engines like Google, Bing, Yahoo, and Lycos. That last part was a joke. All right, so if SEO is your thing, WordPress is definitely the route you want to take. But what's the difference between WordPress.com and WordPress.org? This is actually a very common question for new users. And I don't blame you for asking because they look exactly the same upon first sight. WordPress.com is simply a very easy way of going about your blog, and it'll usually have something like yourwebsite.wordpress.com, which in my opinion, you don't usually want to do. Now with that said, WordPress.com does give you the choice to use a domain, so you can go that route if you want, but in my opinion, you should always go the route of WordPress.org. It's completely open, completely customizable. You can do anything you think of. So take my advice, always go WordPress.org. And plus, it's completely free to download, so why not? But speaking of free, not everything is free with WordPress because you still do need a web host. And that's exactly why I recommend Bluehost. It's extremely affordable, and actually, something a lot of people don't know about Bluehost. You can host multiple websites on one Bluehost account. And that, in my eyes, is just huge. So this means if you have 3 ideas for 3 websites, this doesn't mean you need to have 3 separate hosting accounts with Bluehost. No, just have one hosting account for those 3 websites. Now, granted, you have to share the bandwidth between all those 3 websites. But keep in mind, if you're just getting started, bandwidth isn't going to be a huge deal. So guys, if you do want to sign up for Bluehost, check out my affiliate link right below. I appreciate it. It helps support my content directly. So moving on to the next topic, let's talk about Squarespace. Squarespace is, in my eyes, one of the best CMSs you could ever use. Seriously, it is so tightly controlled that, in my opinion, it makes for a higher quality user experience. Again, it's just like iOS. Some people don't like the whole approach of the iOS ecosystem, but me personally, I love it. It's controlled and it works exactly as it should. Okay, so this doesn't mean Squarespace is not customizable at all, because it's very customizable. And actually, it has something called the Style Editor. You can literally click on anything you want on your website and adjust its values and appearances and all that stuff in real time. And that, in my eyes, is just huge. And of course, there are a ton of templates to customize to your liking. By the way, I'm not even a big fan of the word templates. People look at that and say, you're not a web designer, you're using a template. I could not disagree more. That's like saying I give you a toolbox and you know exactly what to build, and what you're building is gonna look great. No, that's not always true. Squarespace gives you the tools, but it's up to you to create something beautiful. Beautiful might sound dramatic, but that was kind of their ad campaign a little while back. Okay, so let's talk about hosting. Unlike WordPress, Squarespace actually includes the hosting, and it's because of that you pay a small premium. I believe it's $10 a month if you go month to month, but it's only $8 a month if you sign up for an annual package. Now, I do go for the annual package because it's just a better deal and it's just more convenient for me, the user. But even then, it's important to keep this in mind. Squarespace is scaled hosting. This means no matter if you own a very small website or an extremely large website, it's gonna be pretty much difficult to take that website down. Squarespace hosting is that good. But again, with that kind of convenience does come a small premium in the price department. So in terms of search engine optimization, you really don't have to worry about SEO with your Squarespace website. Okay, so they do give you a little bit of control here and there, but it's not nearly as in-depth as what you get with WordPress, and it's, again, thousands of available plugins. But if SEO is not important to you, that's fine. Let Squarespace do the work for you. So, the verdict, WordPress or Squarespace? Honestly, it comes down to what you're looking to build. For blogging, I go for Squarespace. But for more diverse websites, especially in terms of marketing and stores and all that stuff, then I go with WordPress. Because again, I know I keep on saying this, but it's just that big of a deal. Plugins. The plugins, in my eyes, that are available for WordPress are a huge advantage over Squarespace. But then again, perhaps Squarespace gives you plenty to work with as it is. One more time, it completely depends on the type of project you're looking to build. Honestly, that's what it comes down to, because I use both platforms on a regular basis. WordPress websites, Squarespace websites, boom, best of both worlds. So in my opinion, why not use both? Okay, so obviously that cannot be said for everybody, but if you do have multiple websites, then I highly encourage you to use both WordPress and Squarespace. What is your opinion on WordPress versus Squarespace? What have you used and what do you plan on using? And please don't forget, if you do plan on creating a WordPress website hosted by Bluehost, check out my affiliate link right below. I really appreciate it. And speaking of affiliates, check out lynda.com/David. If you're new to blogging or graphic design, web design, or any skill for that matter, check out lynda.com. You can get a completely free trial of thousands of video courses to use and enjoy. Seriously, there is so much information on that website. You will be missing out if you don't use it. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. And of course, don't forget to check out the original article on the Franco University right below.